John Lynch went on the radio and updated the status of Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk, or did he? Plus, can the 49ers run the ball the same way against the Texans that they did against the Falcons? We'll break it all down next. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Demonetization Station. This is the show where we break down the film and the NFL takes all of our money. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera alongside Johnny Dell from the Johnny Dell Football Academy. What's up, sir?
Oh, man, it's been a good week. You know, anytime the 49ers win, it's a good time. We just need to not have to sacrifice a starter or two every single game, and things might be able to turn out pretty well as the season goes.
No, the blood sacrifice must continue. The football gods demand it. No matter who we get back, somebody else has to go out. We're going to update a couple of injuries, and then we will get to the film breakdown of the running game. I was thinking of you watching the game on Sunday Night Football because we have done multiple videos. In fact, last week we did why can't we run the ball? And it just looked so good. And I was like, oh, man, me and Johnny are going to have fun this week.
Oh yeah. I texted you. I was like, "Hey, this is the triumph game for those of us who've been pounding the table saying McCaffrey still has it. There's some blocking issues. This will turn around."
And boy, did it ever. Before we get to that film breakdown, though, John Lynch was on KNBR. And of course, he was asked the big question hey, John, what the hell is going on with Brock Purdy?
What I can tell you is he gets better each week, each day. So I do think we're getting closer to him returning. A hard timeline because it's kind of a feel thing and how he feels. That's still out there and TBD. But you know, we're getting closer. We do know that. I think this week in particular, last week, I think we made some progress, and so that has Brock encouraged. It has everyone encouraged.
Yeah, it doesn't have me encouraged. I feel like we're not making any progress. Diana Rossini said he had a workout before the Falcons game and had a setback. I don't know, Johnny. You were watching my show at 11 yesterday. I said I don't think we see Brock again this year.
I truly hope that is not the case at all. Part of me starts to get really frustrated here, especially with the strength and conditioning department, the player health department, because it's like, this would now be the second setback that he's had. And at what point are you not monitoring this better to say, we're not going to have another setback? Like we're going to make sure that you are at a point where there won't be another setback. And if you can't be more certain about that, then you need to rest him for 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time. I mean, it's not full on turf toe, but
well, that's what Levin and I were saying. Why is he practicing? Right? What do we rest? If you want to rest him, then rest him. But this whole, how's it supposed to get better if he's aggravating it every day in practice multiple times a week? Incredibly, incredibly frustrating, no doubt. Looks like it's going to be Mac Jones yet again. Now, Lynch was also asked about Brandon Ayuk, and I thought it was interesting. The question was, is there any hope for Brandon Ayuk to return this year? Here was Lynch.
Oh yeah, there's hope he plays, and there's more importantly than hope. There's some evidence. He's making really good progress. He's been putting in the time, and I think that it's coming nearer as to when he's going to be out there.
It's coming nearer as to when he's going to be out there. Who gets back on the field first, Johnny? BA or BP?
Oh gosh, at this point, I don't know. I mean, I think the standard answer to any question right now is he's getting better every day. We've heard that since training camp about everybody, any player they've ever asked that's been asked about since training camp, injured or not. If it's just a rookie that's come in, and how is Micah Williams doing? Oh, he's getting better every day. How's CJ West doing? Oh, he's getting better every day. How's Jacob Cowing doing? He's getting better every day.
Is that guy still alive?
I mean, I don't know. If George Kittle had a really bad hamstring pull and he was able to come back before Jacob Cowing, who hurt his before George Kittle. How severe was this? I mean, there just comes a point where again, he was hurt after he was cleared by the player health department to return, and then had such a bad hamstring pull that he has been out longer than a guy who had a severe one. So
a complete tear, according to Kittle.
Yeah. So and that was somebody cleared by the health department. Brock Purdy's had two setbacks, having been cleared by the health department. I have lost my patience with that group.
And you've talked about it before. I didn't really think of that with Cowing, but you're 1,000% right. He was out. They said, you're good to come back. And then he immediately heard it. And he heard it so bad that his absence has been longer than Kittle, who completely tore it in week 1. So, yeah, the injury bug for the 49ers continues to strike, and we continue to sit and wait and hope that someday, maybe, if the stars align, that we might actually get to see the team together as it was fully intended. Now, before we get to the film breakdown for today, just want to give a reminder to everybody, hop on board with Sleeper. We have been great with the picks this year. 70% of our picks have hit. 70% of the time, it works every time. Please listen to us on Fridays. Me and Michelle give out the picks. And if you're going to make some, do it with Sleeper, please. It's super easy. Just pick higher or lower on any of the stats that they have, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. And if you haven't entered yet, now is the perfect time, because all you got to do is sign up. Forget deposit. Just sign up, and you will get a free $20 entry. And if you do deposit, make sure you use our code GSP, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. So use our code GSP. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. So check out Sleeper today. All right, Johnny. I want to check out some film. Let's watch the goodness wash over us from Sunday Night Football.
So there was a lot of talk, and we've mentioned this about different things of gap running that they did in this game versus a lot of the zone running. And you sent me a great segment from Dieter's article about this, and I forget who he was talking to. It was one of the offensive linemen, and he's saying basically it wasn't that big of a deal. Like people kind of make too much of that is from their perspective. So we'll talk a little bit about what this means between man, gap, and zone. They are 3 different things, and they're in 3 different categories in the 49ers playbook and how Kyle does things. A lot of times with the gap, you have zone principles still included. Man is going to be man on a man, and it's a little bit different. So this run is a man run. This is called taxi. It's our crack toss. So you're going to have Juwan Jennings crack on the end, and then you're going to have Juice and Trent Williams leading out in front of a toss out here. So this is 19 taxi is the name of this play. Where you're going to have the motion over, and here comes the crack. You're actually doing a double crack on this, crack and crack, pull and pull. So what makes this play possible is when you get a good crack block by Juwan Jennings, you're going to get in the way enough with Kendrick Bourne. He doesn't have to throw a devastating block. He learned from last time. I tried to throw a shoulder hard in there and whiffed so bad the guy came in. So now he just says, I'm going to get in the way. And you allow Trent Williams to get out on the edge. I think Trent's actually going to go get the safety coming on the other side. And Juice is going to get the first in. Trent's going to get the first out. And you get this thing rolling. And you get Trent Williams out there leading the pack. He's going to lose his footing, get knocked down a little bit, but it's okay. We get knocked down, we get back up again. And they ain't never going to keep us down. So they keep running, and you get Rumble and Brian Robinson, physical run. You get 9 yards there on a man run. So we've done this a number of times. We even showed a clip from last week. We tried to run that play, or it was a different play, but we've tried to run that play in the past, and we've just had some horrible crack blocks by 49ers receivers. It has been a serious problem.
Sorry.
Real quick. No, go ahead.
Bourne yesterday said, I blocked a little better. I felt like last week I got lazy blocking. And he said, well, it was Tampa. It was hot, which I was like, Okay, dude, I don't like what the hell is that? But it was interesting because you and I have talked about it and shown it. Like the wide receiver blocking has not been good. Clearly, Bourne agreed or was told that he wasn't good and tried to fix it. And that was a good clip that you showed because he was much better on that play.
Yeah, it was much better. He overall was a lot better in this game, and there was a lot more effort, and you could see he was excited to do it. Another guy that's been really coming along in the run game is Luke Farrell. This was his best run game blocking by a mile against the Falcons. Another guy that really came along in this game, Colton McKivitz. Those two guys had their best games of the year, I felt, in the run blocking, and it wasn't close. I mean, they really did a good job. Colton McKivitz looked like a Pro Bowl tackle in the run game. I know people are going to flame me for that because everybody loves to hate on Colton McKivitz, but you're gonna see it. He was phenomenal in the run game. But here we're gonna come with now a gap run. This is a gap run, so we're gonna have zone principles basically through here, and we're gonna have zone principles through here, man principles backside, and you're gonna get a pull and you're gonna get a fill. This is 16 counter. So first thing I love is we're trying to get up on Diablo right here, and we're gonna try and get up on him with Juice as he's kind of come and fill through this hole. So how do you do that? You need to end up moving him out so he can get kicked out is what you want. So we bring this little bump motion. You're going to see Robinson move and watch Diablo's he's going to take a couple steps to his left. That right there, just that single step is all you need to now get the angle to kick him out. So 16 counter, what you're going to do is you're going to pull Colby and he's going to go kick out the end man. You're going to have McKivitz and Farrell are going to wash down this 4-eye technique, defensive tackle. It is important to note that the Falcons come with a 5-man surface, 2 stand-up linebackers, 3 defensive tackles. So they're going to wash down the 4-eye, kick him down, and then Luke Farrell is going to go pick up the backside linebacker, number 3. That's what he's supposed to do. We're going to get the kick out from Colby. You're going to get Bourne, who's got to come up on the safety, and then Juice is going to come and kick out Diablo. And so this is 16 counter. You're going to see this. The pull comes around. Meant to pause it. Missed the button.
That's the only thing that was missed on this play.
Yeah, you get a great kick out here. You can see now Diablo is outside. He's not able to hide in. And so that one step is what allows Juice to get the angle to kick him out. And we get a great wash down from these two guys. They are moving the defensive tackle, the 4-eye down, which, to be able to run this, you have to run your wide zone because a lot of teams come with what's called a 4-eye, which is, if I back this up, that is inside shoulder of the tackle. That's the alignment. So teams for a couple of years now have been running a lot of 4-eye techniques. You see this on both sides. And the reason you do that is it makes it really hard for these combo blocks with the guard and tackle when you're running this wide zone, because it's really hard if, for example, you're trying to have Dominic Puni reach block that and get around. That's really hard to do. If you're just trying to kick him out, well, now you've got to get Connor Colby or Jake Brendo's got to wash his man out. And then you've got this guy who's going to grab on the backside. It becomes real hard. You pretty much have to run through here if you're going to run wide zone. Same with the other side. If you're going to try and run wide zone, that's pretty much the only gap you get. And they're going to have these second level defenders fill really aggressively on that. So a lot of teams come with 4 eyes on us. So how you can counter that is literally with counter is you wash this down. You get a good angle block, but you got to move him out of the way. And so there you're going to see him, bam, Farrell just blasts him out. That blows this gap out. And then he's going to go pick up the linebacker, the backside linebacker safety. And Robinson runs through the arm tackle, runs over Farrell, and he just plows for a big gain.
Exactly what you want. Everybody blocking it up right, counter to the counter, and then you get Brian Robinson doing what he does, which is just carrying people. That's with your backup running back, by the way.
Yep. And so what do you end up doing? Well, you say, well, little bit later, we're going to come right back to this. This is going to be 16 counter again. So you get it. You're going to get now a wash down. You get up to the second level because there's nobody there. You're going to pull Connor Colby to kick it out. You get your receivers up on the second level. You're going to get McKivitz come up here because they've washed this down so far. And this is going to set up for a perfect hole right through here that they're just able to wash it down. Again, able to blow this up, wash it down, pick it up. You get Kittle coming up. You got Colby kicking out. You got receiver picking up. This looks beautiful. This is exactly how you draw it up. And you get Christian McCaffrey is able to run hard and get some yards through the hole.
That had to feel good for everybody associated with the 49ers run game. You got the impression that they thought they could shove the Falcons around. Like they were like, this front's a little lighter. We're going to have success moving these guys around. My question is, can they do the same thing against Houston, who has a much bigger front?
It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a real challenge. They're going to see a different front as just from a scheme perspective. They're going to see a different play style. They start with similar principles with Ulbrich and D'Amico both coming out from under Robert Saleh. So they play with the same edge principles. So you're going to see the Falcons they set a hard edge. And you're going to see they had a guy get mixed up. But you see they set wide, hard edges. They say we're going to set an edge. That's why the wide zone was tougher. But you have to keep pounding those wide zones to set these plays up. Because that keeps them in these fronts that you can run your gap schemes against. And so you're going to see similar edge principles, but they play their interior front different, and their back end is different too. They are a very attacking secondary. They love to have their guys, their front seven and their safeties attack the line of scrimmage hard. This is a play that we oftentimes call it duo. Shanahan calls it stab or punch, and this is what's called stab punch. So this is stab 14 punch. So this is going to look like it's meant to go this direction, but he's just the stab portion is he's just going to take a couple steps to the left, and then he's going to read this backside. We're going to kick out with Farrell on the end, and then you're going to take Juice and lead him up through the hole. And so you're going to get a great duo block here with Pooney and McKivitz. You're going to see him move vertically and get this guy cleared out. Farrell does a great job sealing off the edge, so you get great push. You get a great seal off, and now you're getting Juice up through the hole on Bertrand, and McCaffrey's just going to press this and then cut back through that hole. So this is stab 14 punch. You'll see him take it, and then he's going to work backside and get up in here. That's where it's meant to go. And read this inside out. So he's going to read this from gap to gap to gap. That's how he's supposed to read this. To the right gap, to the gap to the right of the center, and then each one gap out as he goes. This is where Christian McCaffrey is so good. He's going to read that and then cut, follow his blocks, and get up in here. Look at McKivitz just driving his man off the line.
That's absurd.
Like, he gets this combo, and then he's going to stick with it, and Pooney's going to peel off, but just look at him drives his man, finish the block. And he's pushing that line down. It's awesome to see.
Nice to see. I feel like Pooney had a bounce back game too after a really rough game against the Bucs.
Yeah, he really did. Played much better against Atlanta, and that may have something to do as well with playing a smaller front. He's not playing against Vita Vea and that knee trying to hold up.
Good point.
So here we're going to come with 17 power. So this is another gap run. It's going to be a power play to the left side. So your Juice is going to go kick out the end man. You're going to get a combo with Trent and Connor Colby. They're going to work down and then up to the backside linebacker. You're going to pull Pooney, and he's going to lead up through the hole onto the play side linebacker. And then I believe you're going to get, you're going to see, I need to clear this out. You're going to see Farrell come in. Him and Trent are going to work a combo, and then up to the backside linebacker. You're going to get Juice kick out. You should see an insert block here from Juwan Jennings up on the safety. You're going to pull Connor Colby up onto the linebacker. So the only man you're not accounting for is the corner on the outside who's got to play outside defense. So you're not worried about him. So you're going to get it through this lane. That's what we're trying to do. And this is really, again, good level execution. Again, Luke Farrell and Trent Williams, they're just going to blow this thing down. I mean, Trent handles it by himself, and then Farrell's going to go pick it up. You get the kick out block on the end. Pooney's coming up on the linebacker. Jennings is coming up on the safety. Let's go. And where does and CMC is gonna read this block off of Trent to Farrell, and he's got a big hole. Great cut by McCaffrey. Again, he works this outside in on those gaps. So it's a really nice read by him of reading this outside in on his gaps. So he's going to take it, work outside, read, see the color flash, and just go find the hole. Man, and just keeps the legs pumping, dragging guys with him. It's awesome.
Now we have a question here from Access Granted who says, how is this so dramatically better in the Falcons game compared to the previous 6 weeks of football? I mean, you're breaking it down. This guy, you block him, you block him, you block him. It's easy to draw up on the chalkboard, as they say, but it is kind of shocking to see them actually execute it so much better this week as opposed to previous weeks.
It is. And I do think a lot of it does have to do with the fact that you have a unit that's been playing together for multiple weeks now. You have a unit that's playing together for multiple weeks. You have a tight end who is new to this system, who has been playing in it for a while, and he's been getting more and more accustomed to the system. It was going to take some time. It's now you're starting to see the fruits of that. Pooney is getting a little bit healthier. So, all those things are part and parcel of it. I think I talked about it in week 3 or 4. I said, if you go into it, it wasn't until after the Saints game. It's been since week 3 to now that we've actually had the same offensive line. Like every player had been playing, and going back to training camp, because you had Barch that was in and out, and Trent was, only playing or practicing about 33% of the time. And then you had Pooney that was going out, and, you had all this movement in and out of the offensive line throughout training camp, then through the first couple of weeks of the year. Now that group has been playing together for a month. It's only been 4 weeks that they've played together, this entire offensive line unit. And so it should be expected that by week 3 and 4, that unit begins to gel. It's kind of like a quarterback and wide receivers. They've got to get time together to gel.
Makes sense to me. That's why we ask. See, there you go.
Yeah. So now you're going to see, we're going to run 19 tacks again. We ran it once. It went really well. So guess what? We're going to run this again. So you have this 19 taxi. That's going to be now another man run. They're because the edges now you see these edge players are playing a little bit tighter, right? They're just coming in a little bit tighter. They were playing a little bit about a step wider. So now they're playing a step tighter because they're getting kicked out on these. So they're going to play a step tighter. And so now what do? You crack down, you blow it out. So there you go. And you get that great crack block by Juwan Jennings. And this is, second level perfection. When you get Trent up here, you get Pooney coming up, and you get Kittle coming up. That is, and now you're going to get Juice out on here. You have a hat on a hat. And so Christian McCaffrey is going to get a lane right through here. It shouldn't surprise us to see Christian McCaffrey start doing better when you have this. Now, this is a good job by this safety. He ends up keeping it condensed and then setting the edge. That's a really good job by the safety of playing this, or the corner, or else this could be an even bigger play. But you're getting an explosive run. So an explosive run is anything 10 yards and farther. So you're getting 14, 13 yards on that play.
Can I ask you a question? Because if you go back to the beginning of that play, something I feel like I noticed in this game was they had Juice running these sort of like these motions before the play where he would go hard in one direction and then the ball would get snapped and he would go hard in the opposite direction. I feel like they did it multiple times. I don't remember seeing that previously this season, and definitely not to this extent. Do you think they sort of wanted to get him going with a running start?
Well, some of it is also when they're setting this 5-man surface with hard edges. How do you account for guys, moving out like McCaffrey or the running backs and the fullbacks? Is you're going to see more lateral movement from these second level guys, and so it's about setting up good angles for them. So you get a tighter edge. Well, how do you want to make sure you can get Trent Williams up here? You need to move this guy in a little bit. So you run Juice into the backfield. He's going to take a step. And that's where you get then Trent Williams has an angle on him because, Trent is there by a step. And so it's just that one little step forces the player to come underneath instead of going over the top of the block. And so you get Trent is able to keep him out of the play. So he's never a factor in there. And that's what allows this run. And again, this is only not a massive run from a really good play by the corner. That is a really good defensive play by the corner. Let me get the next video up here. So we're going to now move on. Now we're going to see another gap run. This is 16 punch. So we had stab punch. This is now 16 punch. So it's going to be on this side. It's Shanahan's version of duo. So it looks like it's a gap scheme with man principles. So, or with zone principles. So you're going to have zone blocks that are Kyle Shanahan has this noted in the playbook as zone push blocking principles. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words over here.
Zone push blocking principles.
Yeah. So that means they're going to try and get vertical movement on these blocks instead of horizontal movement on these blocks, but it's still zone blocking ideas. And what you're going to see is Christian McCaffrey is going to work this inside out from the gaps, and you just get really strong blocks on these. When Brendel's block is okay, but Trent and Zakelj do a good job. Zakelj is going to get held big time. You're going to see his left arm kind of get yanked down. You can see him getting held. Like he's trying to go and he's getting held like crazy. But McKivitz, a great block on the edge. You're going to get the movement to then Bertrand by Pooney. And you get a good block here by Curtis Robinson. Did I say Curtis Robinson?
Marcus Robinson.
DeMarcus Robinson. Too many Robinsons, I'm telling you. It's like, never mind. Anyways, and it's just, this is beautiful. Brendel sealed it off. You got, kind of getting up to the second level. He's getting held, but a good wide receiver block. Bourne's going to get up in here. Kick out by McKivitz. You give Christian McCaffrey these looks, you're going to get explosive runs. And that's what happens. Like, you just keep getting yards. What's amazing about this is, like, Christian McCaffrey, yards before contact. His yards before contact this year was like 1. It was 1 yard. He was averaging 1 yard before contact. That's not even hyperbole. He literally is averaging 1 yard before contact. Now he's not getting contact until yard 4. And then you're getting 7 and 8 yards. So why was his rushing average so low? Because you were having so many yards, like so few yards before contact. It was so frustrating. We're going to have another one. This is going to look like a gap run, but it's actually an inside zone. This is called Wanda. So it's a weak side run with a block that you're going to see Kittle. Sorry, brain's not working today. Kittle loop around and lead up in the hole. And so, some of these do look like gap runs and man runs, but they're not. This is an inside zone run. So you're going to see they just wash this whole thing down, just plow these guys down. You're going to get McKivitz wash this down. McKivitz is just going to drive this guy out. Juice kicks out the end. You're going to get Kittle up on the linebacker, Caden Ellis. And again, you just are giving big holes for Christian McCaffrey, who's able to find it and go get explosive runs. I think I got this one from the end zone. And so you're going to see it. It looks really beautiful. They're trying to cover up every lineman is what the Falcons are trying to do here. So now you're going to get McKivitz just drive this guy off. That's the first one I want everybody to watch. Just watch McKivitz drive this man off the line.
Took him for
So
a
when
ride.
I say, yeah, when I say, that was a defensive end. When I say McKivitz had a really good game in the run blocking game, like it's not just me blowing smoke up his rear end. He really did. And you got block coming up. I mean, this just is so beautiful that you got Kittle bringing this up, get up through the hole. Excuse me. This was a different run. I've told you my brain is not working. I didn't sleep well or something. We're going to blow this out. This is a sift run. So you got a sift block here by Kittle. He's going to kick out the end. He's trying to kick him out. He's going to loop around. So there you go. Get McCaffrey out into the open field. Man.
The other thing too that I took away from this is like McCaffrey's still making people miss. Like if you don't have burst, if you've lost a step, it becomes harder for you to do that. And he was making people miss consistently in this game.
Yeah. So if we go back to this one, this was Wanda. Sorry for this whole thing. McCaffrey is making great cuts. He's making guys miss in the hole. I mean, he's breaking a tackle every single run. I think he leads the league in broken tackles. You get him on a safety. And how many times do we talk about this the last few weeks, right? You get Christian McCaffrey one-on-one with a safety, he's going to get more yards.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it here. One-on-one with a safety forces a missed tackle. And it was just over and over and over again. Now, there was a clip, a mic'd up moment where George Kittle was talking about this play. He said it was 16 power. It's God's play. Yeah. And so what we saw earlier, 17 power, we're running 16 power now on the goal line. So 16 power, 17 power is to the left, 16 power is to the right. And somebody had posted said is 60 power. And I messaged the guy and I said, hey, just a heads up, that was 16 power. Don't want you to get dogged for it. And George Kittle actually commented on the guy's post and said 16 power. I was like, I tried to warn you. But 16 power. So you're going to pull. This is Connor Colby to kick out. You're going to lead up into the hole. But the big thing here, watch this. Watch what Colton McKivitz does to this defensive tackle. Christian McCaffrey doesn't even have to follow Connor Colby through the hole. And he's expecting contact, so he's going to run with his head down. But this, McKivitz just road grades this out of the way and goes and he gets a 2-for-1 and just clears it out. Pretty sure I got this from the end zone as well. Yeah, just watch Colt McKivitz clear this thing out. This is moving somebody. He's going to wash this 4-eye down, and then he's going to go pick up the linebacker. Oh, that's beautiful.
And you can tell that McCaffrey was expecting contact because he puts his head down. That's why he does the flip afterwards, because he was trying to get low and he was expecting to hit somebody. I think he even said on the sidelines, like, I expected someone to be there and it just wasn't.
Yeah, he said it was like the truck stick when nobody's there. In Madden, because we're trying to get George Kittle up on the linebacker that Colton McKivitz ends up picking up after blowing his man up. That's what we're trying to do. Colby's kicking out the end, and Kittle can't. He's getting caught up in here, right? But Colton McKivitz blew this thing up so wide. I mean, you just get this crease that McCaffrey was expecting to have to run over somebody, and he doesn't have to. So it turns into the somersault. 16 power. It's awesome. Now we're running, this is 17 counter, so another counter run. So you're going to pull and kick out the end, and you're going to get this moving up. Now, Trent actually loses on this play. We're trying to run this from the outside in, and Trent loses on his leverage here. Trent's trying to wash this down, and he ends up getting beat, but he's still going to seal the guy off. So we're trying to run this like down the hash through that gap, but Trent loses it. So McCaffrey sees it and just makes a great jump cut. It's sometimes these play, even in slow-mo, these guys move so fast because McCaffrey's going to read this, see flash of color. They're trying to run it through here. He's going to say, oh, nope, I'm cutting it through here. He's going to cut this up, and you're just moving guys. And again, one-on-one of the safety makes a miss. How many times do we say that?
Not bad for a guy that lost a step.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad for a guy that lost a step. Now we're going to see classic. Okay, so now look at the front. Now they're not running those 4 eyes, right? So now what are you going to do? You're going to run your wide zone. This is Zorro. So you're going to run your wide zone here, and you get a good run. So you've been hammering them with these gap runs. You've been sticking with the wide zone. They come in, they're trying to counter it. They're going to shift late, but you're going to end up still getting your wide zone to pop. So we're trying to work this. That's where McCaffrey's reading. He's going to see, okay, this stays. He's going to press the hole. This is what I do like. McCaffrey was sometimes trying to dance around a little bit too much in the backfield. So he's going to press the hole. That's going to draw J.D. Bertrand up. So he's going to press the hole. You see him press it, draw J.D. Bertrand up. And then when he sees this gap isn't here, then he's going to cut. And so he presses, sticks his foot in the ground, accelerates, goes, and he gets tough yards after contact or through the contact. Love to see it.
It was so refreshing. It was just like, oh yeah, we can still do this. Because it was like so often through the first few games, every run was just like a give up. It was like, well, I guess Mac Jones needed a break because he was tired from throwing the ball so damn much. We've seen them throw it 40 times. Now we got to see them run it 40 times. And you could tell that Kyle was pounding that into them all week, because if you watch the like mic'd up little segment that the 49ers put out, multiple guys in the pregame said, we're going to run it 40 times. I think Kittle said it. Trent said it. So it was clearly something that was on their radar, and they absolutely executed. It was one of the best execution games for the 49ers offense that I've seen this year.
Yeah, I mean they ran it hard. They were committed to it. They saw that this was a team that could be moved, and so they did. They didn't just stick with, we're going to try and make big guys run. We're going to make little guys hold up, is what they said. And so it was a cohesive plan. They still need to get a little more productive at the end of drives, down when they get into the scoring zones. 20 points is good, but you would like to see 24 or 27, turn or 28, even, turn some of those field goals into touchdowns, but it was enough. And now part of that was that in the second half, they weren't able to convert as many third downs. I remember watching through the film and that sticking out to me of how shorter the drives were. There was just some third down throws that were not there that we could have converted and weren't there. So you got to convert on those third downs to give your offense enough chances to keep doing this, to play punch, counter punch, counter punch, which they were doing. So you'd like to see it, but the defense was allowing the offense to do that. This was when your defense is stopping the Falcons and they're holding them, they allow you to stay committed to the run. I think the moment that spoke volumes about that to me was after the big fourth down stop by Chase Lucas. And it's 13-10 in the game. And it wasn't, the game was not over by any means. I think it was 7.5 minutes left. There was a 2nd and 1 that Kyle Shanahan, most coaches are going to, try and do a play action shot on 2nd and 1. They're going to either do a play action shot or at least, get a chunk play of some kind is what they're going to shoot for, because the defense has to hold up so much more against her, or they would at least try a run that has a chance to pop. What did Kyle Shanahan do on 2nd and 1? He came out and ran a quarterback sneak.
That's a bleep you run right there.
It was a moment, like some people were still mad at him about it. And I said, that was a draw a line in the sand moment with the Falcons defense. Because that was Kyle Shanahan saying, I don't believe that you guys can stop our run game here at the end. And so I'm going to give us every chance. I'm not scared of you stopping our run game. We're going to run it. And then he called a run on 7 of the next 8 plays.
He gets into that like attack mentality with the running game a lot of the times. And usually it works out. It's fun to watch. Sometimes he does it when his quarterback throws an interception. He gets a little scared, but it was nice to see in that instance. And the 49ers ultimately lead the way, 20-10 victory over the Falcons. Christian McCaffrey goes for more than 200 yards. Here's hoping they could keep up some semblance of that against the Texans, because if they can, it's going to make everything easier on both sides of the ball, really, because they'll control the ball. The defense will be fresher, and we'll see. if the Niners can get their 6th win in Houston. That is going to do it for this edition of the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you want even more film breakdown, check out Johnny's YouTube channel, Johnny Dale Football Academy. There's all sorts of breakdowns. Everything you could possibly want to see is up there for you. Johnny, thank you again, and let's talk next week.